Welcome to the first ever podcast for the Western Canada Paintball Alliance. I'm Grizz. The guy beside me here is Predator.
What's
Um,
up, everybody?
so this is our first attempt. This is episode 0. Basically, our goal here is simply to introduce ourselves and introduce what it is that this podcast is going to be about and why we've chosen to do it. Uh, Predator, I'll let you take it from here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
So, for those of you who know me and who don't know me, my name is Daniel J. Harkis, as everyone on Facebook knows me, otherwise known as SES Predator. Um, for those of you who don't know me, I got into paintball in 2003, playing at Paintball Action Games in Edmonton in the indoor. I had the very fortunate luck or very unfortunate luck, depending on how you look at it, to play against Zane Yakimich from the Edmonton Impact, who now plays for the Impact. He and his cousins were there with some of the other Impact guys, and I got my butt completely handed to me, but it was definitely worth it. I was hooked right away. I did 3 years of speedball, took 2 seasons off, and then I got into woodsball. And by getting into woodsball, I mean I had a few little adventures here and there throughout Alberta, and then I really got hooked. A year after I started woodsball seriously, I got into MagFed, and I've been there for 5 freaking years, and it is the best style ever. My personal opinion, I'm not gonna say woodsball is better than any other sport, any other style out there, but my personal opinion is I just love it.
Uh, yeah, I definitely can't disagree with you there. So I guess now it's my turn. For those that know me outside of this, my name is Dave Olfert. I've been playing paintball for probably 21 years now. I got started down in Lethbridge, Alberta, on a little field called Coulee Runners Paintball. Grew up there. Basically, had some of the best time I could imagine. Got hooked pretty much right away. Um, much like Daniel here, I got started playing mostly speedball style once I was able to find an indoor field that had Doritos. Um, from there, I moved around a fair bit and ended up, I now live in Calgary. Um, Ended up with the team for a bit there, playing Milsim style, limited ammo, and
Very
progressed
limited.
very limited, 50 round tack caps at most. From there, progressed. I am now also mag fed. This is my second year with my marker converted over to mag fed. I've got a Tippmann X7 Phenom that I have sunk way more money than any one person should into my marker. Um,
Since we're talking about our markers, my very first marker, and everyone's going to see a reoccurring theme here. My very first marker was a Spider VS1. My second marker was a Spider VS3. My third marker was a Spider MR4. Then a Spider MRX, which I still have. And now I have transitioned over to a big boy MagFed marker. I now run a Max Tact uh, TGR2 Mark 2 or X2, whichever one it is, Commando. So instead of a 10 round mag, I now run an 18 round mag, first strike capable. And this thing is
nice.
puny. It's like maybe 2 feet big and weighs 5 pounds compared to my MRX, which is like 25 pounds and 3.5 feet long.
Wow. Uh, yeah, I'd have to say my first marker, that's going back to a Spider Imagine that I got when I was about 20.
That was when
Uh,
Spider was still good.
yeah. And that's enough of that. We won't go in there.
Yeah, we're
Don't
not
want to get
here to
ourselves
bash
in trouble.
companies.
So,
No.
um, which actually does bring up the next point here. On our podcast, our plan is to grow the sport. We want to be a positive force. So any negative comments and whatnot, we're going to try and keep to absolute minimum. Uh, if for whatever reason it does come up that, for the sake of proving a point, we're telling a story, um, any companies, teams, names, players, we're not going to give out names. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at. Like I said, we want to be something positive in this.
Yeah, our mission statement, so to speak, is to grow the sport, and there are so many people out there who are all about growing the sport. Um, but how do you grow a sport if you have biases against other playing styles, against fields, against players, or teams? That's not what we're about. Um, both of us were members of teams where it didn't work out well. We were both sponsored by the same companies. We were both sponsored by the same field. Um, Unfortunately, things just didn't work out. And fortunately for us, it allowed us to progress into who we are now. It allowed us to branch out and do more of this without the restrictions placed on us by small mindedness, I guess, for a lack of better terms. Um, we're also wanting to branch out to kids. So if we have any guests joining us or ourselves, we're gonna do our best to make sure that we're not dropping the f bomb. Um, we're trying to show that paintball in Western Canada, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna interview fields. We're gonna interview players, interview teams, companies. If there's any companies, paintball related companies here in Western Canada. So that's Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, and if the chance arises, we'll branch up to the territories. We want to show that paintball is alive and thriving out here. You only ever hear about the big events out east, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. Um,
Down in the States, over in Europe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You never hear anything about Western Canada. And that's what we're here to prove is that, on top of some amazing events that are organized locally, there are events that bring in players from multiple provinces, multiple countries. One of those events is happening in August this year, and we're going to branch into that at a later date um, with the mastermind behind it, a guy that we both know very, very well and both have a lot of
Good
respect for.
friend. Yep.
Absolutely. So our goal is to be ambassadors. So we're gonna be the face, so to speak, I guess. We're gonna be the friendly faces. For me, I might have to shave every day if that's the case.
Yeah, I had to
But
do that earlier myself.
our goal is essentially to grow the sport in Western Canada and basically say, we are here, we are strong, we are thriving. Take notice of us because a lot of players that we have talked to say they feel neglected by the industry. Um, you'll have events out east where 6 or 7 different companies will show up to, and out here we can't even get one. Yet there's events that happen in Edmonton that get 500 plus players, events that happen here in Calgary that get 300-400 players, and we basically don't get noticed. So that is what our goal is to do. Um, we don't care if you're a pump player, if you're a mag fed player, milsim, if you play with a paintball boat. We don't care.
I want to
Speedball,
try one of those.
those are awesome. Absolutely. One of the guys on my team there plays with it. You'll have to test it out one day. We don't care
Definitely.
what style you play. We don't care who you play for, where you play. We just care that you play. We want to hear your stories. We want to find out who the Western Canadian players are, who the fields are. We want to know the grassroots. We want to basically get down, say, take all of, just for the sake of argument, take SAS and find 7 or 8 players from BC, 7 or 8 players from Saskatchewan, players from Alberta. Find out why they love playing, and then we'll do that with every other team out there. I would love to get Edmonton Impact on board. I might
That'd
have to
be cool.
send Zane a message there and be like, "Hey, buddy, you owe me a favor."
So, but yeah, like I know I myself, I've traveled 7 hours just to get to a paintball game. I've traveled 14 hours just to get to a paintball game. paintball is more than just a sport to us. It's part of who we are. It is a large part of our life. Um, you know, I met my wife going to a paintball game. She was a photographer and I was a player. I proposed to my wife at a paintball game. Anybody that was out at Juneau out in Saskatchewan there, it's a game held by Prairie Storm Paintball, just by Moose Jaw. Uh, Apparently, I was the first person to ever propose at that field. So,
I mean, you'll probably be the last. I don't think anyone can beat you, buddy.
well, I welcome anybody who wants to propose at a paintball game in front of a crowd. She said
Well,
yes, thankfully.
yes, that is thankful. She's a very special woman. My wife, on the other hand, has refused to play paintball. So
We'll work on that.
yeah, we'll work on that. We'll get her into archery tag first and slowly work her up to sitting in the back with first strike rounds, sniping people off. But
As long as she's behind me and not in front of me.
the day that she's on the field opposite me is the day that I basically crawl into a hole and hide, because I know she's accurate. It doesn't take much for me to know that.
Yeah. I know my wife has said that if we end up on opposite sides of the field, she's coming for me.
Hey, we
And
might
I
have to
don't
put
doubt
that
it.
to the test this weekend, buddy.
Oh, please don't do that. No, this weekend she's actually running her camera, not her marker.
Well, she said she'd bring both, so we'll see what happens.
I know, but no, one thing that I know Predator has heard me say numerous times: in order to grow the sport, we have to grow the community. In order to grow the community, you have to be a part of it, and that is what has helped bring this whole idea of this podcast into existence. And hopefully it progresses into something much larger. Uh,
I have high hopes.
Me too. Wouldn't be here otherwise.
Exactly. We're
So,
doing this for the love of the sport and for the love of something that we do. We're not doing this to become famous. If we wanted to do that, then we wouldn't be doing it to grow the sport. We'd be doing it to grow ourselves, and that definitely is not the case.
no, I'm here to. I want to see, the younger kids get into this. I want to see, doesn't matter what style. My kid wants to play, and he turns 10 next year, which is the legal limit at most of the fields around here. And he's pumped to get out onto a field with me. Um, and yeah, so I know I talked to numerous people of multiple different age ranges. You know, this sport isn't just for you know, the teenagers. It's not just for the 20 somethings. It's not just the 30 and up crowd. This is everybody from the ages of 10 until you're not able to move. Like,
Yeah, I know my father-in-law. He's looking forward to coming out and playing again with me. I took him out the first time I ever met him, and thankfully he wasn't on the other team. Otherwise, I would have been gunning for him the whole time. He's looking forward to it again. He had a blast, and my dad is 67, and he wants to give it a try. Like he's told me openly. When he first saw my new marker, he's like, "I want to come out and play with you guys one day." I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's grow the sport. I've got customers at work who are like, "What do you do for fun?" I tell them. I'm like, "We have these are a list of events. Come on out." So this coming weekend, we might have about 30 or 40 young women coming out having
nice.
fun. So that'll be a fun thing to see.
So, for reference, I know it's been mentioned a couple of times about this weekend. Both Predator and myself plan to be out at Capture the Flag, just out west of Cochrane, Alberta. And they are having their May-long game on the 21st, which I believe is Sunday.
Yep.
And that game is Western Hustle. So Old
We
West
have no
style.
information. We have no information about
That's
game
all I know.
style. Rick is the mastermind behind all the paintball events that happen out at Capture the Flag, including Shooting for a Cause, which is the big event coming up on August August long, and so he's leaving everyone in the dark because the typical Rick event is rainy and snowy and cold. So right now it's storming outside my window. I currently live in Cochrane and I look out over towards where Capture the Flag is. So it is currently storming. So fingers crossed this weekend is nice and
If
nice
not,
and
I blame
sunny.
Rick.
We always blame Rick. It's just that
Exactly.
simple.
We only blame Rick because we love him.
Exactly.
uh, but yeah, so that is who we are. That is what we are doing and why we are doing it. We hope that you guys will follow along, subscribe to the vlog or podcast. My apologies. And
Post questions. If you have
yes,
questions, please feel free to ask them. And what we'll probably end up doing is, probably for the first 5 or 10 minutes of every podcast, depending on how many we end up doing and how long we want to go for, we might answer some of those questions. And definitely include your name and where you live, because I would like to give shout outs to everyone who does ask those questions. And if you're a member of a team, post your team and we'll give a shout out to your team too. Again, it doesn't matter if you're MagFed, Pump, Speedball, Woodsball, Milsim, doesn't matter. We
paintball is
are
paintball.
exactly, we're a family. That's what we are. We're a family and we're here to grow that family and bring new family members in. And I know I'm using the word family a lot, but that's exactly what we
And with that, I have to give a shout out to Skull Eagle. Meg fed his family. Well, we're
are.
taking that a step further, brother. And
Absolutely.
paintball is family today. So,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely. Sorry, Skull Eagle. I know I'm gonna get a scolding when he sees this
oh
video,
yeah, you're
but
not the only one.
hey, it's all in good fun though with
Oh,
him. He's an
exactly.
awesome character.
So, but yeah, no matter where you're from, no matter who you are, if you pick up a marker and you run around on a field, you know, please feel free to comment. If you have somebody that you feel that, we should try to get in touch with, or, that you think it'd be cool to see on the podcast with us, please give us their name. Give them a heads up that you're doing this first, though, otherwise it's a little weird. Um, but yeah, no, the more players that we can find that are interested in talking to us, that are interested in being a part of what it is we're trying to do, all the better. So, uh, thank you for your time tonight, and see you out on the field.
It's been fun.